what is it about millennials? What is it that brings them in? What gets them excited? Well, one thing we all know and we can speak to in spades is the fact that they are based in technology. They've grown up with technology. There's things that we expect that are new to our generation. I'm calling myself our generation because I feel like I'm getting borderline old very quickly when I go to campus anymore. So a few years ago when I had more hair, I felt like I could relate, but now that's becoming a thing of the past. So the beautiful thing is we've now got new talent in the organization that we're putting in front of the recruits in the town. So what can we say about them? They've got technology in every element of their life. Whether it's the way they interface with their digital media, how they communicate with their friends, how they get their information, etc. So millennials are different. We can't continue to expect them to behave in the way that we understand the life to be. So we just need to understand that. So millennials, right? So if we think about it, there's nothing that's off limits anymore with our society, specifically people coming out of the high school and college generation right now. So if you think about things that have happened in their lifetime, right? 9/11, wow, that went through very, very quickly, but recessions, 9/11, highest divorce rate in history, all sorts of things going around, with Osama bin Laden and climate change and the advent of Twitter and all the things that are changing around the world of media. It's a generation of skeptics, and it's a generation that's seeking to understand at a higher level of detail than in the past. So when we think of Gen X, what can we say about Gen X? They typically had 4 years of college, where millennials take 5. So I was kind of in that generation that was bridging the gap where I took 5 and some people looked at me weird and like I failed. On the other end of the extreme in Gen X, if you took any longer than 4 years, you were considered a failure. Many people now encourage students and encourage young people to take 5 years. A lot of reasons for that, and we'll talk about it here in a minute. But I'll kind of go back to the story, right? So another thing that happens is they're taking longer to do what we would consider in the past milestones, right? So they're getting married later, they're buying their first homes later. They're taking longer to make sure that they get the opportunity, the future, and build the future that they want. So, right, what we're trying to showcase here is the fact that they take multiple internships. Internships are their opportunity to kind of suss out the career that they want, the industry that they want. And that drives a tremendous amount of value. So, one more. So, Matt. This is Matt. He's different. We can't act like the differences are not beneficial. He is a millennial. He's taking an extra year to graduate. I realize that this fact is in fact wrong. He's going to graduate with 6 co-ops. So if you think about that in real life terms, that means that as a recent grad, he's going to have more than a year's worth of experience coming out of college. That wasn't the case 15 years ago, right? 15 years ago, you went to school, your first year you came back from school, you went and worked as a lifeguard, or you delivered ice like myself, you maybe got an internship, maybe 2. We're getting students that are graduating now with 6 internships in 3 or 4 different fields, which is incredible when you think about what experience they graduate college with as compared to, even the last generation, Generation X, right? So, we need millennials. We can't act like they're not here and that they're not here to stay. So for the first time ever, millennials are now the biggest population of eligible employees. So in terms of available workforce, they are the biggest, and we need to understand them in a different level than we have in the past. Right? So does this surprise anybody? Because it really surprised me when I heard the statistic that there's now officially more millennials than baby boomers. Right, so the 75 million people in the industry that are considered baby boomers, there's now 87 million millennials in the equation. So, any questions? So, by 2025, they will encompass 75% of the entire American workforce, which is pretty incredible. So, what's different about millennials? In the past, with Gen X, it was all about incentives. It was all about the stick and the carrot. Right? Now millennials are driving more towards understanding what level of autonomy they're going to have, what degree of mastery they can have in their job and in their career, and lastly, what's the purpose, right? So at Amend, we talk a lot about the why. We talk about why we do the things we do. We talk about why we're here as an organization and here as individuals. And that's something that we really need to think of in terms of what motivates people graduating anymore. right? So it's not necessarily, hey, who's got the biggest paycheck on their first paycheck? It's who feels like they're most highly engaged with their organization and really has what it takes to be impactful. And as you recruit on campus, you're going to hear a lot about the word impact, right? So what's the impact I can make? What's the deliverables that I can achieve to kind of help the organization as fast as possible? So the idea of paying your dues for many, many years is a thing of the past. People want to make an impact soon. And that's what we're trying to speak to here. So does anybody disagree with kind of the idea of in the past it was all about money, it was all about career progression and the path and how do you get to be a C-suite executive as fast as possible, whereas now we truly believe that it's about how do you have people who can own elements of the business, not to say that it's before they deserve it, but with line of sight to get there, right? So we absolutely challenge our young professionals to say, what can you take on beyond your kind of day-to-day activities to help run the business, right? So not to say that we put them in places where they're going to fail or where they're not capable, but we want to have an opportunity for them to step up and deliver value. So that's 3 words that we think of very often when we think about how do we position our young people for success. So autonomy, mastery, and purpose.